How's it going? All right, if you're watching this on replay, this was supposed to be a chat with another booktuber, but their voice is shot. So we rescheduled, and I just decided I already had this time frame set up anyhow. This is just going to be an ask me anything. So ask away if you're here. If you're watching this on replay, I may not see your ask away. You still can. I'll check the comments. It just won't be a live answer. Uh, so if you are watching this, since I don't have anybody asking any questions yet, it's a busy week. What do we get on the schedule? I might as well throw that out there first. Friday the 26th at 6 p.m. Central. Josefina from Fina Reads will be on. Got some stuff going on Saturday, but that's just recordings for a future video. Sunday, the 28th, that's the big one, 7 p.m. live stream here with Paul Jessup, horror author, where we are going to do our second annual horror recommendations from horror authors. I've got videos from some of your favorite horror authors, Paul Tremblay, sorry, Paul, Grady Hendrix. There's a bunch of them. I don't want to tell you all of them. That would take all the fun out of it. But we're going to be presenting videos from them. I've also got a few that have sent in emails who could not make it for a actual recording. So those are going to be the big things. Going to have it done. We want to make sure. Last year we kind of did it mid-October. This year we want to make sure everybody had time to pick up some books for Halloween and get them read. So that's coming up. What else I got going on? Monday the 29th, I've already recorded it, but I will be posting the interview with debut author Seamus Sullivan about his latest book, which I moved. Daedalus is Dead. Greek retelling, 5 stars though. And if you need a palate cleanser, 160 pages. That's all I'm saying. Super short. And I think that is probably it for September. That'll take us right up to spooky month. On October, I don't remember when the book is coming out. I have an interview set up with Brian Freeman. He's got a new book out called Photograph. It's going to be dropping in October. Again, I usually post these the night before. And then I also have an interview coming up with Kelly Armstrong. Those are both dropping in October, as is my interview with Book, Beverages, and Besties, also known as Sherilyn and Tabitha. And that'll actually be posting, because that's a live stream, that I know for sure is the 24th at 7 p.m. Central. And we'll find out later when Preacher's gonna redo, because Preacher was going to be on tonight, but he has used up his voice for the week, and not that mine's sounding great either, but go figure. Don't have the dates in front of me, but in November we also have Kate Elliott and Neil Schusterman scheduled. One in December, but I'm keeping that a secret. Want to make sure it happens. And it's fun to keep the mystery alive. January, AC Wise and Philip Chase. February, Shauna McGuire. March, possibly. Not possibly about the author, possibly about the date. Sarah Reese Brennan, because she's got her book right, and she thought they were supposed to debut in both places at the same time, but right now the UK and the US editions have different laydown dates, so we haven't decided exactly when. It's either going to be February or March, or February or April. So I think that's why I put her in March. May is crazy. If everything goes to plan, it will be Chuck Wendig, Eliza Chan, and Martha Wells. And then hopefully in June will be Fonda Lee, and hopefully in November it'll be Shauna Lawless. So yeah, next year is already wrapping up to be busy. Sorry, getting over a cold myself. I'm feeling much better, but I still have a little tickle that kicks in every once in a while. Stupid soda hiccups. Sorry about that. Hey, Brad, how's it going? All the way from tomorrow over in Australia. How are you feeling, by the way? You're after your little false positive there for COVID. It is truly sick with something, or was it just a bad check? I know it's the wrong time of day for you, but actually, you like the horror movies better than the horror books. But I will tell you, I from based on last year, Paul Jessup is going to have some horror recommendations for movies, and I also know for a fact that I'm going to say her name wrong. I got to make sure she's got one of those people with three names. Hold that thought. Do, 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 do. Cherie Renee Thomas. I know she also had a bunch of horror movie recommendations for, as well as her horror book recommendations. So that'll be cool. Hey, I'm just happy that it was a false positive. I can't imagine having that back to back. That would just suck. I'm still getting my lungs back from the cold I had, much less COVID. Yeah, if I could just kick this tickle, I'd be so much farther ahead. It's the only thing I've got left. No runny nose, no fever, no sinus headache, just the stupid tickle in my throat. Very annoying. So, Twin, I know you're a horror guy, and you're not going to be on the live stream on Sunday, possibly. What do you suggest? What do you think people should watch or read for Halloween? We'll get the early suggestions in. Don't say Twilight. I do have an arc of The Haunting of Payne's Hollow by Kelly Armstrong. I know I'll be reading that this week. I got Bram Stoker hiding in over there. Chilling with Edgar Allan Poe. Spooky season. I put George R. R. Martin away. You know, that's almost my name. Literally, Michael is my middle name. So if I didn't go by Edward, I would be Michael Myers. The scary one, not Shrek. Donkey. Anyhow, that's besides the point. Don't let me do that again. I do see a couple eyeballs. So anybody in chat, if you have any questions, fire away. This is your chance. If you have any comments, go for that too. I'm easy. Just ask my wife. And yes, I do have like 3 different drinks going. But when you have a tickle in your throat, it causes a lot of drinking. That didn't sound right. You know what I meant. Ooh. Good question. This is not a horror type movie, but the movie that I thought was this close to being perfection. If you have watched Logan, and I feel like this is old enough that I'm not spoiling anything, that was what I thought was a great movie that just had to happen to have a superhero in it instead of a great superhero movie. The one fatal flaw in that thing, and even my daughter said it's the only thing that kept this movie from being perfect. What they did is they had, if you haven't seen the movie, you're probably not going to see the movie at this point anyhow. But what they did is they had Wolverine fight a clone of himself that had been created. That should have been Sabretooth. If they had brought Liev Schreiber back to play that role, because in the first Wolverine movie, he told him, is like, only I get to kill you. And that was when he was fighting Deadpool. And so that would have been a tie-in that he had gone through the serum that they'd created to give him the ability to finally best Logan in the fight. That would have made that movie excellent. It was really, 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 really good. That would have put it over the top. I want a director's cut, but with Liev Schreiber in it. That's all I'm saying. No, because the whole gist of I think they talked about they didn't bring Liev Schreiber back to play Sabretooth because the whole idea is that he was supposed to be alone. It was just him and Professor X kind of left from the original group. But that was if they'd brought him in on his side. I think if they'd brought him in to play the villain, I think that would have been cool. Just my 2 cents. Liev Schreiber was excellent as Sabretooth. He didn't look the part, but he owned that role. Let's face it, Hugh Jackman, Wolverine's supposed to be 5'3". So Hugh Jackman did not look the part, but he owned that role. Huh. Sorry, just playing around with the software. I just realized because I never really look at this. They've got a thing. Don't anybody click on this. I'm just showing you what I'm talking about. I can click on this and share my affiliate link. I'm not really an affiliate, basically, by sharing the link because I already use the software. You get a discount, I get a kickback. I'm not telling anybody to use that. I just had never realized that that was a little button down here in the corner. I probably realized it was there. I probably just never read it because I'm male. So again, I'm not telling anybody to click on that. That is not what that was for. I know this sounds like I'm just making it up now, but seriously, I'm not telling anybody to click on that. I like StreamYard. I use StreamYard, but it does cost money. Yeah, sure. Here's the thing. I don't think there's enough tubers following me. I don't do like a YouTube channel or I don't do like a YouTube improvement channel or education channel. Uh, I don't think too many people are clicking on that link anyhow. The average book reader is probably not thinking, you know, what I really need is StreamYard so I can do YouTube stuff. Let's face it, normally for something like this where I don't have anybody on with me, I would have just used OBS. But I forgot to set it up ahead of time. And I was like, because originally this was going to be a chat with Preacher from Preacher Reads. And so it was just easier and faster to just set it up in StreamYard real quick. Plus, StreamYard's automatically set up to go to both YouTube and Twitch, as to where if I was on OBS, I think I've only got it set up to do one at a time. So. I would probably be more apt to recommend StreamYard for people if it was the same price as it was last year. The price did shoot up this year. I'm only still using it because when I told them I was going to cancel, they offered me a huge discount, which makes it almost the same price as last year. I don't think you can get that deal as a newbie. Although there is, let's face it, there is a free version. So I'm not saying don't use StreamYard. I'm just not saying I'm sure I would pay for it. The big thing is if you use the free version, you end up with that in the corner, which isn't all that bad unless you're doing like talking to multiple people and you end up with a bunch of little squares, because if somebody's up in that corner instead of straight here in the middle, that can kind of end up being over their face. I also think it does this, but I think this comes and goes. I can't remember if this is up all the time, which again is fine. You know, free. I understand it. You do a little sponsorship for them if you're doing the freebie. Just don't know if I want on there. I even tried doing my own, and I just ended up not really like him hanging out in the corner. He was just kind of distracting, so I got rid of it. And since I usually have stuff on my bookshelf behind me, it didn't make sense to put it anywhere else either. Man, I think my voice is going. Probably just as well Preacher had to reschedule on me tonight because that might have been an interesting talk with both of us unable to speak. Sorry about that. I should have muted that before I cleared my throat in your face. Do not try this at home. I am a professional. And I realize I've got that open. I really need to open chats. Yes, this is my very first ask me anything, and no, it wasn't scheduled ahead of time. So this is probably not the correct way to do this. Speaking of which, Brad, when are you going to be streaming again? I don't think you've streamed. Of course, you were on vacation, let's face it, but don't think I've seen you on in a little bit. Hey, Pepe, how's it going? What? Am I missing it? Sorry, I was trying to check the Discord for the stream announcements, and I'm not seeing it. Why am I not seeing it? Oh, there's the stream announcements. Huh. Your last stream announcement was from the 4th. So you didn't put in Discord. I didn't know. All right. Hey Josh, my day's going okay. My voice is a little shot too, so like I said, both both Preacher and I, our voices are a little bit shot, so we just decided to redo that. Well, but Red Rabbit Ghost, I am not reading this yet. I'm going to. They sent me that copy. That book came out in July, which was one of the months that I was just June, July, August was packed for me, so I did not take it up as a author interview. Although we are talking about doing an interview for her next book. I threw that up there because she was on today briefly to record a piece for Sunday's Horror Recs from Horror Authors. So I just threw that up there so it'd be behind me when I was talking to her. So, and she knows that. I told her that. Yeah, I don't blame you there. For the last 2 weeks, it has been very hard to get through any video because of that stupid tickle in my throat. There was some heavy editing done on anything I posted in the last 2 weeks. Let's put it that way. Luckily, I was also on vacation for part of that, so I wasn't posting anyhow. What are you reading, Josh? And Brad, yeah, I'm sure it's probably even harder when you're gaming because you're already doing stuff. At least now, I get a free hand to mute the mic if I have to do something. If I was in the middle of gaming, that would be a pain in the butt to try to mute without coughing in somebody's ear. Ooh, Ken Liu's new book. Oh, dang, I saw something for that. I am brain dumping on what it is. Oh, is it All That We See or Seem that's coming out? The one that's not out yet? Did you get the arc? Yes, nice. I think that comes out. When does that come out? Because I don't think that's out yet. Look at you with the subtle flex there. Let us all know you got the arc. I just saw it. Where to go? I think it comes out what, the 25th? That doesn't make any sense. Books usually come out on Mondays. Oh, it came out. Oh, comes out October 14th. So yeah, nice. Yeah, October 14th. So yep, yeah. Book reviews, especially the earlier you can get them out. This may sound funny, but the earlier you can get a book review out, even if it seems a little too early, it helps because you're the first one out, and anybody's heard about the book. That they go to look for it. You might be the only one out there, or you got to be one of the lucky ones that did not too many people reviewed. My biggest book reviews for watch time so far have been uh, Fonda Lee and Shanna Lee's, the one about the dragon, Shadow of the Dragon. I think it was Shadow of the Dragon. But I had that like 6 months early, so I was like, at the time, I was like one of the only reviews out there. The other two big ones were According to Bristol Keats by, I want to say, Mary Pearson. And then there was one by ML Rio, not Hot Wax, but the previous one. And I think I was just one of the few people who actually reviewed it. So people looking for it, they found me because I was all that was out there. All right, nice. Yeah, finish it up, get it out there. If you can get it out there now when it's still got a few weeks away, you're golden. I really need to, again, being sick, I'm behind on some book reviews because I've got some books that I reviewed that really deserve a review, or books that I've read that really deserve a review. I just have not gotten to them yet, including this baby, which like I said, I had Seamus on. This book, 160-page debut book. It was absolutely awesome. And it comes out at the end of the month, so I need to get that review up. Ooh, stretch, snap, crackle, pop. It is. It's kind of fun. It's like not what I was expecting. Just on the art cover, I thought it was going to be a little bit more. I think looking at it from afar and not actually staring at it, you realize this is more of a face in the labyrinth. But to me, I thought it was looking a little more techy. This is definitely just a retelling of the Greek story, but he manages in 160 pages to give a lot of these characters way more depth than they ever got in the stories. So it's cool. It does, exactly. Which is why I thought it was going to be a much more contemporary retelling, but it's not. It's definitely Greek retelling. What am I reading now? That's a good question. Because I just finished this book last night, so I'm going to cheat. Goodreads is always where I keep everything. So I need to get back to Catabasis by R.F. Kuang. I started that a while ago. Still haven't finished that one. Took it to me with Worldcon, but yeah, I didn't get very far into it. I am liking it though, but I just haven't finished it up. This week, I really want to finish up Glass House by Paul Jessup, since we are doing the horror recommendation video this week. And I started that a long time ago, and I really liked it, but it kept getting put on hold for author interview books. I also started In Bloom by Paul Tremblay. That's going to be done this week. It's a 35-page short story. It just happens to be available on Amazon. And I get to read it as like a free Amazon Prime thing. I'm currently listening to If I Run by Molly Black. That is a mystery. I use the term mystery loosely. It's a police serial killer type thing. Sometimes I don't really call those mysteries because it's not a whodunit. You're not trying to figure out who did anything. Um, oh, and Daedalus is dead. I need to mark the fact that I actually finished that. I thought I did. I had not. So let me click while I'm here. I'm finished. Says it's 176 pages, but I think that includes the acknowledgement and stuff. Or maybe it's just because I have it must be because I have the arc, because this is 161 pages. But I finished it. It is 5 stars. And I'm not gonna do that while I'm talking to you, but I am marking that off. So that one is done. And then I need to, if they get it to me soon, I need to start on Photograph because that's my next interview is with Brian Freeman, but I don't have the arc yet. If I don't get that in time, I'm probably going to start on The Haunting of Payne's Hollow, which is not super chunky, less than 300 pages, because that's the interview after that with Kelly Armstrong. Hey, Juan, how's it going? What are you reading, Juan? We were just talking about what we were reading. Yeah, I kind of went through my whole spiel here at the beginning, but yeah, I've got I just did Seamus. He's my last author interview for the month. Then I've got Brian Freeman and Kelly Armstrong next month, Kate Elliott and Neil Schusterman in November. So I have some books to read, but I also need to catch up on some of my TBR. You reading a George R. R. Martin book? But seriously, Dungeon Crawler Carl. I haven't been a big fan of Lit RPG, but I've heard so many good things about that guy. I saw him at Worldcon. He's like one of the few people I didn't get a picture of because I felt weird walking up to him. I was like, "Hey, I haven't read your book," but yeah, he's definitely one that I've got to. I'm probably gonna have to give him a try at some time. There's too many people saying way too many nice things about it, and I need to at least read book one before he's got a show or something coming out, doesn't he? And I'm pretty sure that question there is for you, Juan. Yeah, you listen to the audiobook or reading the physical copy of Dungeon Crawler Carl. Crawler Carl is no fun to say three times fast. That's all I'm saying. Well, let's face it, Juan. Your channel could almost be renamed the George R. R. Martin Advocate. Ah, fair enough. I have to listen to audiobooks sometimes just to, otherwise, I would never read as much. Well, I still don't read as much as I want to, but the occasional audiobook helps. I do have to listen to it like at night when my eyes are tired and I just want to rest because if I try to read an audiobook while I'm doing something else, I will miss half of either what I'm doing or half of what the book said. I can't remember if I asked you on. I know he's just an editor, not the actual writer. But what did you have you read Wild Cards, any of them, and what did you think? Obviously, people either love Game of Thrones or don't, but there's like no middle ground on that one. I mean, that is the downside. It is a shared world with a bunch of different authors writing for it. Who was the one? I know they did that the Stand anthology with a bunch of different writers writing in Stephen King's The Stand uh, world. And I think it was John Min was talking today that after the first few, you realize because, it's not like this is a shared world and we're having you write this or you write that. A bunch of people write stories set in that world and they get a little repetitive. So, yeah, I don't know necessarily that. At least I have not read all of Wild Cards. I've read a couple of them. I don't know if they're all super super repetitive, but yeah, it gets there a little bit. Yeah, I agree, Josh. I read, like I said, I read a couple of them. Again, it's one of those things where it's the downside of an anthology or even a short story. Sometimes you'll find some that you like and some that you don't. By the way, if anybody is not watching Already Overbooked, he's been killing it with the author interviews lately. Yeah, sometimes I almost don't want to reread a book because it'll be like, is it in my top 5 or whatever because I really, really love the book? But if I go back, is it going to lose something? Do I no longer have whatever that feeling is that surrounded the book at the time? Especially with Chonkers. Part of me really, really wants to reread Swan Song, and part of me doesn't. Same thing with Name of the Wind. Part of me really, really wants to reread Name of the Wind. It's one of my top 5, and part of me is like, is it going to hit me the same? Am I going to lose? Is part of it being top 5 nostalgia? Oh, nice. I don't think I know Ro Bushy, but I'm going to find out. Rosaire Bushy, indie fantasy. Huh? Always love giving the indies a shout out. Only 200 followers on Instagram. Well, let's fix that. Got to add. Okay, 210 now. 211 now that I'm done. Got to throw that in there. Shut up, Juan. No, I know a lot of people. Again, Name of the Wind is another one of those ones where there's not a lot of middle road people. People either loved it or hated it. And there's a few people that loved it and have hated it since book 3 has never come out. So I get it. Not every, again, I always tell people, I joke with people if they don't like a book that I love and vice versa, but we all have different tastes. It would be no fun if we all love the exact same book. Only one book would ever have to be written and then we'd be done. Bald and balding. So maybe that's a different Roe Bushy. I might be looking at the wrong Roe Bushy then. Or maybe not. with the name Rosaire Bushy, I thought it was female, but I see a picture here, and that's not female. I know you're not supposed to judge that on looks these days, but I'm pretty sure that's not female. I'm just saying that is quite the beard. It may be a fake beard, but that's quite the beard. I'm also seeing some bald and balding pictures on here, so definitely got the right person. Is it for Sigil of Enderune? Looks like that's the next one coming out, or just came out, I should say. Yeah, I know I saw something with Bald and Balding not too long ago, but I honestly don't remember where I saw them. Nice. I'm sorry, Preacher's not here. I'm sure this would be much more exciting if he was. All right, Juan, when are we going to get you interviewing an author? Maybe George, at least after you came out of a stupor after George said yes, he'd do an interview with you at least. Yeah, I took my shot with George at Worldcon. It didn't happen, so. Oh, nice. Yes. I mean, you saw him too. PL was at Worldcon. Super nice guy. I think if you asked him, he would totally do an interview with you. So if you're looking to do an interview, Juan, I think PL would be a good person to ask. JCM Byrne would also say yes. You might have to read it, but say it. Hey, no problem. Hey, Josh, I appreciate you jumping in. I get it. Kids come first. Catch you later. Ooh, on my shelf, I've got Vengeful up here, and I've got The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue up here, and I've got Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil. I don't think I still have them. I have read all of the Darker Shade of Magic, the original trilogy. Anyhow, I've not read The Fragile Shades of Power. I actually haven't read Addie LaRue yet, but I do need to read it because everybody tells me it's great. I actually got that book because I took my daughter to see her when she was in the Detroit area. Actually, she was up in Lansing, but no, it was Detroit because it was Ann Arbor. Yeah, so Michigan. And so to get in, you bought a ticket, and a ticket got you the book as well. So, but yeah, I love V. Schwab. I did have her on this year. Finally, only took me 3 years. But yeah, I love the Darker Shades of Magic. I don't know if I'll get back to the Fragile Power, which is kind of a prequel. I think it's a prequel. I don't always like prequels. There's very few prequels that I've enjoyed. And I do love her vicious, vengeful villains, whichever one of the V's is the name of the series. I do love that series though. Loved that one, and I did like Darker Shade or Bury Our Bones. That was really good too. And I don't know if I know what she's got coming out next, to be honest with you. I probably asked her, but I've done a lot of interviews this year, and I don't remember what she said. Yeah, but Darker Shades of Magic is fun. It's one of those. It's all based around London. The main gist of it is that There's multiple Londons that you can get through if you can portal through to them. And that each of the Londons, there's a gray London, a white London, a black London. They all have different levels of magic and stuff. So, oh yeah, and she is, and I don't mean this because I know some people don't like this word. They think it's condescending. I don't mean this condescendingly. She is adorable. I've talked to her for years via email. It's not like we were best friends. I don't have her phone number, but uh, some of the stories, if you, I'm not telling you that you have to follow everybody's newsletter out there because not everybody wants to follow every author's newsletter. First of all, V. Schwab's newsletters read like prose by themselves. She's got one of the best newsletters out there, and she has some of the most down to earth stories. When I had her on, I told her I've been in love with her as a person, as a not just as an author. Since I think it was on Instagram one time, she posted that she had been on a plane going to some con, and she'd been on a plane for an hour and a half with Ian Somerhalder and never realized it. Uh, and it's just the most, regular person type thing that you could post. I know she went to a murder mystery dinner party with a bunch of people one time, and she had a blast with that. And nobody told anybody who each other was at the beginning, and nobody recognized her. And then when she finally said who she was, I guess three of the people had read her books but didn't realize that was her. So again, she just has cool, fun stories, and she definitely feels like a regular person when you talk to her. Although she is busy as all get out. However, if I ever get out to Scotland, I may have to see if she's free to hang out. I promise nothing. I'll say all of her works are different, so it's definitely depending on what you want to read. Uh, Villains is very much a superhero type story, but with a twist. Darker Shade of Magic is your classic fantasy stories. And then she kind of says that although they're not really tied together, Bury Our Bones and Addie LaRue are possibly kind of sort of in the same universe, whatever that means. Again, not having read Addie, I can't tell that for sure. Although she does have a small Easter egg, which I would have recognized if I'd read Addie, possibly, uh, in Bury Our Bones. So it's one of those things that only Addie LaRue fans are going to see it. It's not blatantly in your face obvious. I appreciate that, but I do know some people, they don't like certain words like, adorable, or I used to have a friend whose wife was always like, she hated the word cute. She's like, puppies are cute, babies are cute. I'm not cute. She hated being called cute. Even if you just simply meant it as the compliment as she was cute. But then again, she also hated the word darling until I said it one time. She's like, okay, you can call me darling. But again, my throat is gone. I think I had a little more bass in my voice when I said it. But I'm getting off topic. All right. So again, we're not super busy tonight because again, of course, there were a lot of people that were going to. Oh yeah, hey, no problem. Appreciate you. I was going to simply tell you it's getting close to 7 here. I have been on for almost an hour, so I might be jumping out of here unless anybody has any questions. Uh, if you have questions, that's what I'm here for. If you don't have any questions, we'll probably wrap it up in about 7 minutes or so. It is. Don't get me wrong. It is completely fun hanging out with you guys, but making up my own questions is no fun. Nobody ever apologized for having a life and having to go do something else. Now, not watching the V. Schwab interview, that you should apologize for. I'm just kidding. Ha! European or African? The funny thing is much like most nerds, I have actually looked that question up one time. I don't remember what it was. There is an actual answer out there. Somebody figured it out. Yes, still one of the funniest movies of all time. Come back here, I'll bite your ankle. Right up there with When Harry Met Sally. That is an under for as popular as a movie it is, I still don't think it gets the respect that it should. It's as good a com as it is a rom-com. That's a good question, Brad. What is your favorite non-horror movie? Lord of the Rings and favorite game series is Fallout. I like Lord of the Rings. I think if I had to pick my favorite movie, though, it would probably be Dead Poet Society. I don't know about favorite game series. I like playing games, but I don't necessarily play series much. And I don't think I think I started the first Fallout, but never finished it. Maybe. No, I think I'm thinking of BioShock. I'm not sure I've played Fallout. I think I've watched people play Fallout on Twitch. But I don't think I've actually played Fallout myself. I played Fall Guys. That's not quite the same. Not quite the same thing. Which reminds me, I need to watch this show. Have you watched the show? I've heard good things about it. I am old enough to remember liking Final Fantasy 2. Does that count? I actually think I like the old turn-based Final Fantasy more than the new ones. I'm probably in the minority on that one. Oh, nice. I may have to check that out sometime. It's been on my list, just haven't gotten to it yet. But I can say that about a lot of TV shows. All right. It says we've been live for 54 minutes. Looks like the viewership is starting to trail off a little bit, so I'll probably give this about 5.5 minutes, and then unless somebody jumps on and asks me something, we'll probably call it a night. Plus, I know it's like really well. Was it really early for you, Brad? I can never remember what the time difference is. Actually, I take that back. For you, depending on where you're at, is it like 10 a.m.? Yeah, I was right. 10 a.m. there. So yeah, it's middle of the day for you. Aren't you supposed to be working? Yeah, I think I played one of the Final Fantasies that had complete with the whole was it Chocobo races or whatever, but I don't remember which one it was, and I've only tried the one since the old versions. Oh, nice jet lag. Yeah, jet lag sucks. I had just a little bit of it after, obviously not the same time difference since you were all the way here in the U.S. But yeah, when I was in Seattle, it was a couple hours different, and didn't really feel that much different when I was there in Seattle. But when I got back, there was a couple days where I was like, I'm just off. However, I can only imagine how that feels for you right now. 7 p.m. here, 10 a.m. there. That's that's a huge screw up for your circadian rhythm there. Did you at least enjoy the States while you were here? We didn't scare you off too bad, did we? Yeah, I still can. I can't even imagine that flight. Yeah, most of the people are. It's unfortunately it's the crazy extremists that always get make the news. So I promise most of the U.S. is just looking at these idiots going, "What?" And by idiots I mean both sides. So man, but seriously, next time you're in the U.S., come to Omaha because I don't have to drive as far. I don't think that's just your opinion. I think at one time there were a few middle of the road news places. Um, but then once we started doing the 24-hour news places like CNN and Fox and MSNBC, they realized that they needed ratings and they needed stuff to fill the non-news hours. And so they started doing whatever it would be to get them, clicks and, water cooler conversations back when people used to work in the office. And yeah, it's just spread farther and farther apart. Heck, I remember MSNBC used to have a guy that'd go off about the fact that rich people weren't paying enough taxes when he owed like 10 million in taxes on his own money. It's like, dude, seriously. Fair enough. I used to think that politics in the US would be better if we got the money out of it. Like just have people run, have the news places, give them a little bit of time to say their spiel, not have political ads and stuff. People would pick whoever they thought was best and hopefully most sane. But yeah, I don't think that's how it works anymore. I think whoever can control the social media ends up being the one that gets elected. Just my 2 cents. Nobody come for me. But yeah, it's I don't know. I also think there's something about DC that does stuff to people because there's been a few. I don't want to say the wrong name. I'm pretty sure her first name was Debbie, but I'm not going to say her whole name in case I. You know what? Let me look it up. Let me not say the wrong name. Yeah, Debbie Wasserman Schultz. When she first got elected, I'd seen her do a few interviews, and she seemed to be very much one of those nice, calm, chill, middle of the road, talk to you about the pros and cons of something. And then by the time she made it to become like the DNC chairwoman, she was just one of those people that screamed and threw out whatever Trump word you're supposed to say. It has nothing to do with Donald Trump. You know what I mean? Like, if you disagreed with her, then you were a racist or a sexist or an ageist or a whatever word trumps whatever you say from having any actual intellectual value. Yeah, fair. I'm already losing my mind, so I might as well run. I'm just kidding. I'm not running for politics. My wife would kill me. Anyhow, but life happens. Well, we've covered movies, we've covered books, we've covered games. We're trying not to cover politics. Anybody else have any questions before we wrap it up here? I can see eyeballs, but some of them are being quiet, which is fine. Not everybody has to talk, but it is an ask me anything section, so questions do help with that. That's all I'm saying. Considering how many people ask me stuff in Discord, I thought we'd have at least a few people come in and ask me about author interviews, but that's the downside of BookTube. Is I've probably looked right now. There's probably 4 or 5 other booktubers that are probably also doing something live right now. So yeah, true, true. Again, the main reason I had the AMA, like I said, is Preacher was supposed to be on. His voice sounds worse than my voice, so we decided to reschedule. And I thought, I've already got time set aside. It's been on the schedule for months now. Just in case somebody was planning on stopping in, I would have something up just for them to watch. And I've never done one of these before. This is my very first AMA, so I thought I'd give it a try, see what I thought. But yeah, it probably does really, really help to plan it out so people know that's what you're doing. Uh, I did post. Preacher has as part of his own Discord, so I posted in there that he wasn't going to be on. So my guess is anybody that was going to be on for what to watch Preacher saw that it was going to be rescheduled and probably did their own thing. So, but we did still have a few people pop in, ask some questions. So again, I'm not complaining. It could have been worse. I could have been on here for an hour with nobody. That would have been a little bit heartbreaking and humiliating. And I'm just kidding, but you know what I'm saying. But I still kind of had fun. Uh, usually I'm doing interviews, so I'm always asking questions. Sometimes it's fun to get asked questions. All right. So uh, I'm guessing if you have another one, it's probably going to be what, Friday? Or no, did you say? I can't remember now. Did you say when you were going to do next one? Or you probably were just waiting to feel better. But yeah, Brad, next time you got a stream, I'll try to catch it. Like I said, between you being on vacation and sick and me being on vacation and sick, we just haven't seen much of each other lately. So, but I am feeling better. So hopefully I will get some stuff done. Understood. Yeah. So I will keep an eye out on Friday, but if I don't see you, I will also understand. Uh, if you guys are on, if anybody has a Twitch channel or watches Twitch stuff, check out Brad. He's always got some good stuff going on there. Uh, Usually horror related, but every once in a while he just has some weird, random, like trucking or hunting or plastic ducks. It's a variety channel, but he likes to lean horror. So horror fans, go check him out. Uh, actually, I'll make that my last question before I let everybody go. Brad, for you, if you're still on, I don't know, maybe you already checked out on me. There you go. Hunting in the next few might do some Phasmo. I know you did Phasmo. You did Demonology. Is there any other new big horror game that's got your attention lately? Rust. Oh, yeah. Rust was one of the ones that I was really excited about when it first came out. And then finally, when the price came down, I don't think as many people are playing it. And I just like, didn't know if I wanted to spend money on a video game, but it looks fun. Uh, I'm torn because I like the challenge of doing the PvP, and I know there's like different servers, not all are PvP, but that can also be very difficult in a resource gathering and building game. When you not only have to worry about the NPCs, but everybody else is trying to kill you too. So I get it. Goes either way. All right. Brad, I think you're the last one on. I appreciate you stopping in, and I will catch you later. Been a little over an hour, and again, I think it's just the two of us now. Dalmore. Might be Dalmare. I don't like that font. I think that's an A. All right. Dalmare's been on the radar. Poppy playtime can be fun. So I will look up Dalmare because that sounds interesting. I will give that one a check out and see if I want to add it to the list. All right. Again, anybody watching this on replay, which I doubt, I completely appreciate you watching this, and everybody who was on. Thanks for bringing in some questions, some comments, some queries. And yeah, if I don't see you before then, hopefully you guys will see you guys on Friday. Josefina from Fina Reads will be on. And Sunday, Paul Jessup, along with a bunch of video recordings from some of your favorite authors, telling you what to read this spooky season. That's the next big two. And I will catch you later.